So we are actually reading the expansions of Nityananda. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing how Nityananda Prabhu is one of the main branch of the tree. The trunk is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu branches he is explaining. And in previous we heard about Veerabhadra Goswami, and then we heard about Murari Chaitanya, who is very, very fearless preacher, and Gadadhar Das is one of the fearless preacher. So now we are talking about in text number 22, so we are talking about Raghunātha vaidya Upādhyāya. Unfortunately, we do not have much information. I did a lot of research to find out. Only in Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he taken his sannyas and then went to Jagannath Puri, he comes back and then he stays in Advaita Acharya Prabhu's place and Srivas Thakur's place. So that time it is mentioned that at Srivas Thakur's place, Srivas Thakur then has moved from Mayapur to some other place. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited his place, so that time Raghunātha Vaidya also present at that time in Srivas Thakur's house. So here in the translation, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami talks about he is a physician by his practice, by his profession. He is also known as Upādhyāya. That is the title given to him. He was a great devotee, and he says just by simply seeing him, one would awaken the dormant love of Godhead. Talks about. And then the 23rd verse he talks about Sundarananda. He is one of the Dvadasha Gopas. So today is also Dvadashi. So there are 12 Gopas. Out of them, chief of all these Gopas is the Sundarananda Thakur. He is known as Sundarananda Thakur and is also known as Sundarananda Prabhu. So Sundarananda Prabhu, he is born in a village known as Maheshpura. And he is very, very close to Nityananda Prabhu. And the Prabhupada also writes in the purport, as given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Sundarananda Prabhu is previously as Sudama. Yeah, he is being Sudama in Krishna Leela, Sundarananda Prabhu. And Sundarananda Thakur, he is such a mystic. He is having two deities, Radha Vallabha and Radha Raman. These two deities are there in Maheshpura. But Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that these deities are later taken by the Saidabad Goswamis. They have been moved from that place. And now in that place there is a wooden deity and they are worshipping those deity, that deity there. And Sundarananda Thakur is such a exalted devotee. By his mystic powers, he made a lemon tree to give the flowers of Kadamba. So these flowers are offered to Radha Ramanji even. I don't know about today, as on today, but they have been offered, those Kadamba flowers have been offered to worship Radha Raman. So then his personal deity is Radha Kalachandji. And that deity is, even as on today, is worshipped in Sri Radha Govinda temple in Vrindaban. And his samadhi also is there in Radha Govinda, near 64 samadhi mandirs. I don't know exactly where this is, but talks about 64 samadhi places. This is there. So Sundarananda Thakur is also just like a Nityananda Prabhu. Sometimes he used to jump into the river and he used to catch crocodiles and he used to preach to them. So this is how Sundarananda is also got the qualities of Nityananda Prabhu. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he writes, when Balaram appeared, all these 12 Gopas also appeared along with the Balaram. So we are going to see some of them actually. Now Sundarananda Thakur is one of them, and then next verse comes to be Kamalakar Pippalai, he is also one of the associate of Nityananda Prabhu. And then next he comes as the Suryadasa Sarakela, he is another associate of Nityananda Prabhu. And then comes the another, is Gauridas Pandit. So these are all very, very exalted devotees or exalted associates of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. I will try to read the next verse. Is the Kamalakar Pippalai. Kamalakara Pippalai Alaukika Rita Alaukika Prema Tandra Bhuvane Vidita. Kamalakar Pippalai is said to have been a third Gopala. His behavior and love of Godhead were uncommon, and thus he is celebrated all over the world. The purport is given by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, the Gaur Ganodesh Deepika, Kamalakar Pippalai is described as a third Gopala. His former name was Mahabala. So he is known as Mahabala in Krishna Leela, out of the 12 Gopas. So Sri Jagannath the deity at Mahesha in Sri Rampura was installed by Kamalakar Pippalai. The village of Mahesha is situated about 2.5 miles from Rampura railway station. So Kamalakar Pippalai is born in a village known as Kalijula. This is somewhere close to Maheshpura. And then his father is a rich merchant, actually. He's a big landlord, his father. He is having a brother. His name is Nidhipati Pippalai. So Kamalakar Pippalai, after he married, then in his young age, he moved to Mahesha. And there he lived in that village. And his brother came to visit him and then tell him, please come back to our Kalijula, the place where we are living. But Kamalakar Pippalai did not go back and he stayed there only. So then Nidhipati Pippalai also came along with his relatives and then stayed in Mahesha village. There is a beautiful pastime. Kamalakar Pippalai is to worship Jagannath the deity. How this deity came into existence, it's written, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur writes actually, there is one devotee, his name is Dhruvananda. This devotee, he want to prepare something and offer it to Lord Jagannath with his own hands. This is the desire of this devotee. So he went to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Jagannath and as well as offer whatever he prepared to Lord Jagannath. So that night Lord Jagannath appeared in his dream and he told him to go to Mahesha, and there you will find Jagannath deities and there worship them and then offer the bhoga, whatever you are preparing, to Jagannath deity. So then next day then he travels from Jagannath Puri and then he comes to Mahesha. And there in the river Mother Ganga, then he found the deities of Jagannath and Baladev Subhadramaya floating in the river Ganga. Then he takes those deities and then he install them and start worshipping them. And he used to cook and then offer to these deities. Then as he is doing this puja regularly, worshipping these deities, and he is becoming old. Now he don't know what to do. Then he was praying to Lord Jagannath, please, I wanted to find somebody when I leave this body, then somebody should worship Lord Jagannath. So please, let me find somebody. So in that night, in the dream, Jagannathji appears and then tells him, there is one devotee of mine, his name is Kamalakar Pippalai. He is going to come tomorrow. So first person you are going to meet him tomorrow morning is the Kamalakar Pippalai. So then you can offer these deities, worship deities to him to worship. Same thing we can see some similarities. Saranga Thakur, he do not want to take. Saranga Thakur is again Lord Nityananda's associate. He did not want to initiate any devotees. He did not want to become a guru. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes and tells him that you need to accept a devotee. You need to take somebody as your disciple. Then Saranga Thakur decides that, okay, tomorrow morning I am going to take a bath in Mother Ganga as early in the morning for morning Sandhya Vandan. At that time, whomever I see first, whomever I met first, to that person I will give initiation. And to his surprise, when he is taking a bath in Mother Ganga, it is quite common in Bengal, in India. When somebody leaves their body, instead of burning their body, they leave them in Mother Ganga, in a hope that somehow they may revive and they may come back to life. So when the Saranga Thakur is taking a bath, then he found somebody is touching him. Then he saw there is one dead body, which is small boy, his dead body, is touched him. And then he saw the dead body, and since he has taken a vow that he is going to give initiation to whomever he saw first, so then he decided to give initiation to this dead body. So he gave initiation to the dead body, and the dead body, the boy, the dead body became alive. That's his name is Murari. So he kept the name as a Murari Chaitanya, and that boy has become as a fearless preacher. He used to go into the jungle and he used to preach to the tigers and lions, like that he used to do. So the same way here, this Dhruvananda, he decided that, okay, next day morning, whomever I see, I am going to hand over the deity worship to him. So Jagannathji, he told Dhruvananda also, I am also instructing Kamalakar Pippalai that he will come to you tomorrow morning. So the same night, Jagannathji appeared in the dream of Kamalakar Pippalai, and he told him to go to Mahesha. So that's how the Kamalakar Pippalai come to Mahesha, and there he meets Dhruvananda, and Dhruvananda hands over the worship of Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadramaya to him. So that's where Kamalakar Pippalai used to worship Jagannath, Baladeva, Subhadra in Mahesha. In Mahesha, it was, the village is a very small village. Surrounding area is actually, at that time when Kamalakar Pippalai visited there, it was very, very kind of a forest. And Kamalakar Pippalai, he cleared that area and then he made as a model village for others to come and see. That's how the many people, they visited that village and then they stayed in that village. Kamalakar Pippalai's daughter, she married a Vaishnava. His name is, somebody says that Yadunandana Acharya, somebody says that Sudhama Acharya. And their daughter is a Narayani, and that daughter is married to Veerabhadra Goswami. So we see how this is, they are related to each other. Then the next sloka comes the Suryadasa Surakela. Very nice actually. Suryadasa Surakela Tandra Bai Krishna Dasa Nityanande Druda Vishwasa Premera Nivasa. Suryadasa Sarakela and his younger brother Krishnadasa Sarakela both possess firm faith in Nityananda Prabhu. They were a reservoir of love of Godhead. So Suryadasa Sarakela is actually a father-in-law of Nityananda Prabhu. He is the associate of Nityananda Prabhu. Suryadasa Sarakela is having 4 brothers, out of which one of the famous brother is Gauridas Pandit, is also his brother. And of course, Krishnadas used to live with him all the time. So Suryadasa Sarakela lived in a place called as Saligram. This is the name of the village, which is close to Ambika Kalna. Ambika Kalna is the place where Gauridas Pandit lived. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was visiting Vrindaban first time from Jagannath Puri, he come to Ambika Kalna and there he stopped. That's why that place is known as very, very important place actually. So when Narasimha Brahmachari, he was paving the way for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Vrindavan, from Jagannath Puri to visit Vrindavan. He could pave his way in his vision only till Ambika Kalna, and after that he could not see anything. So that's where he told to his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu associates that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not visit Vrindavan this time. He is going to stop at Ambika Kalna. So that's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped. So they are living in a place called as Saligram, which is close to Ambika Kalna. But Nityananda Prabhu has been ordered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Bengal and preach. Nityananda Prabhu also is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu some of the devotees. One of them is Abhiram Thakur, and then Gadadhar Das. Like this, there are many devotees. All of them are actually Swarat and Virat. And in their own way, they are in ecstasy. Ecstasy in a sense, as the party is going from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, in between somewhere, at some place, if they stop, somebody comes in ecstasy and they don't move from that place. They keep chanting and then glorifying Lord Krishna. They stay in that place only for days together. So that is the associates of Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu with his associates, he came to Bengal, he came to Ambika Kalna, and there directly he went to Suridas Sarkela's house. And Suridas Sarkela is having two daughters, Jahnavi Mata and what is other's name? Other daughter's name? I forgot. Anyhow, so Vasudha, yes. Janava and Vasudha, two daughters. Janava is the elder and Vasudha is the second one. Vasudha's son is a Virabhadra Goswami. So, Nityananda Prabhu, he comes to Surya Sarkela's house. And Surya Sarkela is associate of Nityananda Prabhu. He knows very well the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. He knows Nityananda Prabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Nityananda Prabhu comes and stands in front of his house and then he asks him, "Oh Surya Sarkela, I am here to marry your two daughters. You marry your daughter Jahnavi." Surya Sarkela said, "How come this is possible? What is your caste? What is my caste? I cannot give my daughter to you. And you are you do not have any caste. We don't know from where you are born and to whom you are born. We don't know any of your previous birth details, so I cannot give this." So, hearing these words, the Nityananda Prabhu, he goes back and then sits in Ambika Kalna under the tree and he is meditating. So that time, as this discussion are heard by Jahnavi Mata, and then when Surya Sarkela came back into his home and they were discussing with his relatives, how come we can give our daughter to Nityananda, and we don't know what is his caste and where he is born. They are discussing. Hearing these words, Jahnavi Mata, she came in ecstasy that she is going to marry Nityananda Prabhu. And then, as the father is rejecting this proposal, she became very nervous and uneasiness, and her body become pale, and she started rolling her eyes, and she fell down. The sound came, then all the family members saw what is happening. When they came and saw in the next room, Jahnavi Mata fell down without any consciousness, and the tears are flowing from her eyes, and their eyes are rolled up, and then they don't know what to do. So that time Gauridas Pandit happened to be there in the home of Surya Sarkela. He tells that you have committed an offense towards Nityananda Prabhu. You know who is Nityananda Prabhu, and still you rejected this marriage proposal. So you have to rush to Nityananda Prabhu and beg his forgiveness, and then give your daughter in the hands of Nityananda Prabhu. So then all the relatives of Surya Sarkela, they rush to look for Nityananda Prabhu, and they could not find him. Finally they find him in Ambika Kalna under the tree, and then Surya Sarkela fell at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu and then asked, begging for his forgiveness. And Nityananda Prabhu accepts his proposal and then comes to the home of Surya Sarkela, and then there is a marriage that happens with Jahnavi Mata. Of course, when Nityananda Prabhu comes and then when he sees Jahnavi Mata, and the moment Nityananda Prabhu enters into the home of Surya Sarkela, just by smelling the fragrance which is touching the Nityananda Prabhu, Jahnavi Mata comes back to the consciousness, and then she revives to normal. And then marriage is performed. After the marriage is over, it's a beautiful actually. In Nityananda Charitamrita, it explains how the marriage It happens for many, many days, marriage happens. Almost for 7 to 2 weeks it happens, marriage. When the marriage is happened, Nityananda Prabhu stays in the house of Suryadas Sarkela for some days. So that time, when Vasudha Mata, she was serving Nityananda Prabhu, when she was serving Nityananda Prabhu with two hands, one hand she is having utensil and another hand serving spoon, her pallu, that is what she covers the head, it fell down, and then she manifested two more hands and then adjusted that pallu properly, sari properly. Looking at this, Nityananda Prabhu told Suryadas Sarkela, I want your second daughter as a dowry for your first daughter. I will take your second daughter, I'll marry her. So then Suryadas Sarkela very happily gave the second daughter also to Nityananda Prabhu. And from there, Nityananda Prabhu, he moved on to Mayapur, and then he came to Advaita Acharya's house, and then Nityananda Prabhu is being a Avaduta. He was not having any place. He used to always roam around. So they were searching for a place to live. They lived at some place in Sachimata's house, and some days in Advaita Acharya Prabhu's house, and then finally, as they keep going on, some days they stayed in Uddharan Thakur's house, and then finally they lived in a place called Kardaha. That is the place Nityananda Prabhu made as his residence, and then he stayed there. Then comes the next one, which is the crush jewel of all the devotees, is Gauridas Pandit. Gauridasa Pandita Yendra kṛṣṇa-prema-bhakti kṛṣṇa-prema-dite nite dare mahāśakti. Gauridasa Pandit, the emblem of most elevated devotional service in love of Godhead, had the greatest potency to receive and deliver such love. As we said, Gauridas Pandit is the brother of Suryadas Sarkela. Gauridas Pandit used to live in the Ambika Kalna. And Gauridas Pandit is such an intimate associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu visited Gauridas Pandit's house. And Gauridas Pandit, he served them, and they went for Harinam Sankirtan and came back, and Gauridas Pandit wanted to offer something. He cooked and then he offered them, and it's the time for them to leave. And Gauridas Pandit started crying. He said, you cannot leave. I cannot bear separation from you. You have to stay here. Otherwise, if you leave, then I will die. He started crying like a small baby. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu don't know what to do. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then mercifully told Gauridas Pandit, okay, I will create the deities of replica of myself, and those deities, they reciprocate with you. Whatever you cook, they will accept that, and they will talk to you, and just like a normal person, they reciprocate with you. Gauridas Pandit said, okay. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu created the deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. Seeing these deities, Gauridas Pandit was amazed, because both of them are looking the same. Then the time came, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, okay, now we are leaving. So there are the deities, so you can take care of them. But Gauridas Pandit started crying again. No, you cannot leave. If you want, you stay here, let the deities go out and then let them preach outside. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu became deities, and the deities, they became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. They started walking out. And then Gauridas Pandit again went running to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, cat hold of them. No, you cannot leave. Only deities can leave. If they want, they can leave. Then again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu became deities, and the deities became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. They started walking out. This was going on back and forth. When finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he granted the wish that deities are always, we are present always in the deities. You need not worry. There is no difference between us and these deities. So then finally, with the great difficulty, Gauridas Pandit left Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, and they left home. And Gauridas Pandit used to worship, and he used to cook and then offer and feed them just like his own babies. He used to feed those deities. Even as on today, we can see in Ambika Kalna, in Gauridas Pandit's house, The same deities are present even as on today. And then when Gauridas Pandit, he is a poor person because he do not have that much wealth, but he wanted to decorate the deities with the nice ornaments. Just by understanding his consciousness, Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they used to decorate the deities, decorate themselves with the golden ornaments and things like that. And then when Gauridas Pandit sees these deities decorated with so much of jewelry, and he used to surprised, wow, how come these deities are having so much jewelry, which he did not provide obviously, but still the way they are appearing, he used to be so happy. So when he is getting old and old and old, even though he is old, he used to prepare so many offerings and he used to offer. Once Nityananda Prabhu said that, I am not going to have these offerings because the Gauridas Pandit thought that he is not prepared properly. Nityananda Prabhu said, no, the offerings are very, very good. But it is so difficult to see our devotee is struggling so much, even in the advanced age. You are cooking, taking so much pains in cooking and offering it to us. For us, simple offering is good enough. So Gauridas Pandit said that, okay, from today onwards, I will make a simple offerings and then offer it to you. But now, please have these offerings. So in his old age, once he happened to go to one of his disciples' place. So that time, it is almost coming of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day. So there is Gaura Purnima, and they wanted to do a lot of festivals for Gaura Purnima. One of his disciple, foremost disciple, is known as Chaitanya Das. He, when the Guru is not coming still, Gauridas Pandit is not coming, but this almost festival is 3 days, just 3 days there. Then he took his own decision and he started inviting, he sent letters, invitation letters to all the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu associates and as well as the disciples of Gauridas Pandit. When Gauridas Pandit came on the same day and Chaitanya Das explained to him, I did like this. Then Gauridas Pandit, internally he was happy, but externally he got angry with Chaitanya Das. And he told him, since you are acting independently without any of my orders, you can leave this my place and then stay somewhere outside. So then Chaitanya Das, he stayed on the bank of Mother Ganga under the tree. And then it's come, the festival days appeared. Now the festival has to happen. So at that time, one of the merchant, he came and then offered a lot of money to Chaitanya Das, and he told him, offer it to your Guru, to Gauridas Pandit. So Chaitanya Das went and offered this money, lots of money to Gauridas Pandit. So Gauridas Pandit told Chaitanya Das, why don't you perform Sankirtan on the banks of Mother Ganga? So when the Chaitanya Das, he was doing the Sankirtan, the deities of Gauridas Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, he started walking out to take part in the Sankirtan movement. Sankirtan is going on. So then Gauridas Pandit was not knowing the deities left home and they are in the Sankirtan, they are dancing in the Kirtan. But Gauridas Pandit came into the puja room and he saw the deities are not there. Then he asked Pujari what happened. He said, I don't know. There is a Sankirtan going on. Deities must have walked out. Then he took a stick to, punish Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. He started running towards the Sankirtan where it was happening. And the moment when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu saw Gauridas Pandit in angry mood, is coming to chastise them, they started running here and there. Gauridas Pandit was chasing them. And then finally, these two brothers, they jumped into the heart of Chaitanya Das. Then Gauridas Pandit immediately fell at the feet of his disciple Chaitanya Das, and then he said, you are such a great soul that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu entered into your heart. And that day onwards, he named him as a Hrudaya Chaitanya. So his disciple name has become as Hrudaya Chaitanya. And his disciple is Shyamananda Prabhu, who is the second generation devotees with Srinivas Thakur and Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Prabhu. It's very beautiful. Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a nectar. If you can speak, you can keep on speaking onto it. So many stories we can hear. So that is about the glories of Gauridas Pandit. Such a wonderful personality, is a close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even as on today, when we have a chance, we can visit Ambika Kalna and then take darshan of these two deities, which are non-different, who are non-different than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So I will stop here. Any questions, comments? Shyamananda is a beautiful, beautiful pastime, yes. Shyamananda is very nice pastime, yes, bro. Shyamananda Prabhu, Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur. We can talk days, months together about them. Such a great personalities, all three of them. Dukhi Krishna. Yes, it's like in India it is quite common. Normally when the children are born and children don't survive, they give them, when they get somebody, then they give them some name which is not considered as very auspicious, so that we say that nazar na lage, so they won't get disti. So eyesight, the eyes won't fall on them, bad eyes. So that's how they give such a name. So his father, they got so many children, but nobody survived. That's why their father and mother, they kept the name as Dukhi Krishna to him. But the Radharani did not agree. What is this name? I don't accept this name. So she gave the name as Shyamananda to him. It's a beautiful pastime. Shyamananda, even in their disciplic succession, they don't wear same tilak. Their tilak is different. It's like Radharani's ankle bell. It goes like this, their tilak. Of course, when Hriday Chaitanya saw this, Shyamananda Prabhu is wearing this tilak, different kind of tilak, he came all the way from Ambika Kalna to chastise his disciple. He said, what is this nonsense? You are becoming, you are not becoming a proper devotee. You are deviating your devotional service. He started chastising him. That day and night, Radharani appears in Hriday Chaitanya's dream and tells him that, don't chastise him, that is, I gave him that tilak, so he is going to wear that tilak from today onwards. This we can see this, the glories of Shyamananda Prabhu. Which purport, Prabhu? Jamindar means landlord. It's an Sundarananda. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in Anubhashya in the Chaitanya Bhagavata Antyakanda chapter 5 stated that the Sundarananda was the version of love. Nityananda Prabhu Gauranga, he stated this was the 12 cowherd voice. 7th line. Which verse, Prabhu? Is it 23 or 24? 7th last line. Yeah, on this. Okay, it's a Jamindar. Jamindar means is a landlord. Landlord is the title given to them, Jamindar. Jamin means the earth, that is, Jamin means some area. Suppose if you have around 10-15 areas, that's called as Jamin. That is, Jamin means earth. So Jamindar means who is owning that land is known as Jamindar. So that is a title given to them. So those who have big lots of land, maybe around hundreds of acres, they are called as Jamindars. No. Nityananda Charitamrita is written by, yes. Don't know. All right. So we will stop here. Grandharaj Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.